Hello students, welcome to e-learning with Divine Public School Nosari. We are continuing with the chapter 3 demand. In our third lecture, we are going to learn about exception to the law of demand and expansion and contraction of demand. As we have already studied about law of demand, how the law of demand is working up. So today in this lecture, we are going to learn that what are the things which are excluding or which are the things where law of demand is not working. So those goods are comes under here, that is exception to the law of demand. And then after, we are going to study how expansion and contraction of demand is happening up in our demand curve. So these are the two concepts, two topics which we are going to learn today. Let's start with the first one. First is exception to the law of demand. So some of the things or some of the goods which are not, or those goods where law of demand is not working, that we are going to learn. Where you find that when the price falls of those goods, the demand also falls, or we can say contracts of instead of increasing. Whereas you find when the prices of those goods increases or expands, demand also increases, or we can say it expands. So ultimately we can say when a price increases, the demand increases. When a price falls, the demand falls for those type of goods, and those type of goods are called as exception to the law of demand. So this is the meaning of exception of law of demand. Now let us see which of the goods are there. First is prestigious goods. Prestigious goods means those luxurious goods or comfortable goods which are there. So very expensive goods which are there, it is also called as prestigious type of goods. Then after, extremely low price goods, those goods whose price are very less low, and we can say their expenses which we are done, that is negligible, we can say. So those prices are negligible according to that particular goods. Then after, you find Giffen Goods. Now Giffen Goods is also called as inferior goods. So we are going to learn about the inferior goods. Then after, special preference of people. So special preference of people here means some peoples are giving special preference to some particular type of goods. So for that, what is the law of demand or how it works? So all these four types of exceptions we are going to learn today. Let's start with the first one. First is prestigious goods. Now in prestigious goods, as I told, it is a luxurious goods. So certain goods which prices are very high, that's why I called it is luxurious goods, and are generally consumed by very rich people. So what are those goods? Those goods can be, yes, jewelries. Costly jewelries are there which are being worn. Then after, expensive cars which are being purchased, like Ferrari and different Lamborghini or different companies car which are being very expensive, like Rolls Royce also. Then after, you find that expensive mobile phones. So there are many mobile phones. You find Apple has been came up with gold mobile phones. You find that, so iPhones which are been there with a fully gold or different studded diamonds, all this which luxurious people try to demand for their own comfort. So those type of goods comes under prestigious goods. And here, what is happening up there, if the price of that particular goods will fall, the luxurious people will not buy. So here the opposite of it, that is exception to a law of demand works, where you find that if the price falls, the demand falls. If the price rises, the luxurious people will try to purchase more and more. It demand increase in the luxurious colony. So this is what prestigious goods are all about. So these are some of the examples where you can say jewelries, expensive cars, mobile phones. Different goods also are there where rich people try to consume, very rich people try to consume, and their prices are extremely high. Then after, you find that second type of goods which comes, that is extremely low price goods. Now what is extremely low price goods? You find here that certain goods which are having very low price, and the entire consumption, that is total consumption expenditure on goods, are very small proportion. Means if a consumer is there, if his income is there, from his income he try to spend very nominal amount, very small amount for this particular type of goods, and that particular type of goods are called as low price goods. So that's why you find that what kind of goods are there. We can say pins, different pins which are being used, as well as you find that staple pins are there. So different small things which are been there, staple pins and pins, which are the example for extremely low price goods, where you find that the the law of demand does not work. So here if the pin prices rise, what will happen? You find that the people will purchase more, and pin prices falls, you find that they will purchase very less quantity whenever they, because their proportion of expenditure is very small. So this is what is happening. Then after you find that Giffen goods. Giffen goods are also known as inferior goods. Why? Certain price of inferior goods falls, means when a price of inferior good falls and the real income of consumer rises. Suppose a person, or we can say a worker, is there in a construction building of construction. There is a lot many of workers working, daily wages are working, and those workers, they try to consume inferior quality type of goods. And if suppose he got a job as a manager or a supervisor in that particular, his income increases, what will happen? He or she might reduce the consumption of such type of inferior quality of goods, and will purchase or will buy or consume superior quality of goods. So those goods are called as what? You find that it is called as Giffen goods. And on those goods also, you find when income increases, they will purchase high quality of goods rather than purchasing inferior goods. So this is how it's working up. Again, here you find that the goods which are necessary, those goods are also are necessary, but they have which it is having inferior quality, nothing else. Those also is necessary for consumption, like bajra, jowar, maize are there. So these are the grains which are being consumed by the small daily wages workers in a day-to-day life, and they try to purchase. If the prices falls, you find that they will purchase less. If prices increases, they will purchase more. So low income groups, they try to go with eating this all types of stuffs. If suppose their income increases, what will happen? They will substitute this inferior goods with superior quality of goods. So this is where Giffen goods are called. Why it is called Giffen? Why there is a word Giffen? This Giffen has been given after the name of Robert Giffen, who has explained this type of goods. So he has founded this type of inferior quality of goods, and that's why this inferior quality of goods also called as Giffen goods, because his name was Giffen. So this is how you find that it has been named after Robert Giffen. Then after you find that the fourth type of goods which comes, that is special preference of people. Now some of the peoples are, like we can see, they are very addictive and very used to certain types of goods. So they try to does not change their habit or does not change their consumption towards that particular type of goods. And you find that the price of that particular goods rises also, still their demand does not change. So you find that some of the goods which are likable, which are more likable by you does not change the demand if the price rises for that particular good. For example, a particular brand of shoes, yes, when you try to go with purchasing shoes, if you have a fix in your mind that I want to purchase a good I want to purchase a shoe which is of branding Nike only, so you will go with Nike no matter what is the price. If after a month if the price rises also, you try to go with purchasing that. So you find that you have made your preference main addictive, or we can say made that I want to go with this particular thing only. So that time law of demand is not working on that particular people's, on that particular goods, because they have special preference, they have special corner for that particular branded things. Like same way you find in your mobile phones, like if you're very much your parents, if you see most of the parents, they try to go with Samsung company. So they have made their mind that if it is, if you want to purchase, go with Samsung. So this is what the things that special preference is given to certain types of companies branded things. Same way branded clothes are also there, like you try to go with some brand clothes only many times, so you find that you feel safe, you feel trusted toward that particular brand, that's why you try to go with that particular brand clothes no matter it is costly. So this is what special preference is all about. Lastly, watches, many of the people have addicted, they are like they have that particular thing, that they want to go with different types of watches, and those are luxurious with different brands. So in that, if any upgradation new models with luxurious one is comes, they try to purchase it, or so they try to go with collection of doing all these things. So there comes what special preference, where law of demand does not work for this particular type of goods. So I hope you have been clear with this four types of goods, why it is not why it is been not included, and why their law of demand does not work. Because you find that some of the goods are only purchased by very rich people, some of the goods are only consumed by poor people, and then after you find that inferior quality of goods which comes, where you find that if your income rises, you will stop using inferior quality and you will start purchasing high quality of goods. And some of the goods are given special preference by your own, because you are trusted, you want that particular group, particular type of branded goods only. So these are the four types, where you find that prestigious goods, extremely low price goods, given goods, and lastly fourth one, that is special preference of people. These are the four exceptions to the law of demand. Now, I hope you have been very clear with this. Let's move to the next topic, that is expansion and contraction of demand. So why there is an expansion and contraction of demand? We have already seen that how it is been going up in law of demand. So here it is again telling, when other determinants are remain constant and price varies, that is, there is a change in price, so you find that there is an expansion and contraction of demand. So you find that because of price changes, there may be expansion, because of prices there may be contraction. So when a price falls, keeping other determinant constant, when other determinant are constant and there is a reduction in price, you find that the demand expand. As well you find that when a price rises and other determinants are not changed, or you can say it is still the same, there is a contraction in demand. So this is what we have seen, that this is what the law of demand is all about. When a price increases, the demand decreases. When a price increases, the demand decreases, and when a price falls, you find demand increases. So this is what is all about. So let us understand with the help of again a schedule and a chart. So again, price and demand is given, price in rupees and demand in units, which is given. Now here price starts from 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So you find there is a reduction in price, and demand is here, we can say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But as per our chart, we find that here on the x-axis demand is there, y-axis price has been plotted up, and there is already plotting of this particular demand curve is there. But the starting is here from 3 to 3. So here when a price is equal at rupees 3, the demand is 3, so it is at an equilibrium state, or it is at a balanced state. What will happen? We suppose there is an increase in price, when from 3 rupees it increased to 4 rupees, or say suppose 5 rupees, from 3 to 5. So the demand has contracted from 3 to 1. So you find that from here the demand, which was 3 unit, it came to 1, as the price has became 5 rupees. So you find, you can observe there is a contraction of demand. Why? Because there is an increase in the price. So when there is an increase in price, the demand decreases, and you find there is a contraction of demand. Same way you find that it connects here. If you see A to B, there is a contraction of demand. Again, if the price is 3, here you find when a price decreases from 3 to suppose 2, the demand increases to 4 unit. 2 to 1, the demand increase from 4 to 5. So if you say 3 to 1, so what will happen here? The demand will increase to 5. So when at rupees 1 price, the demand has increased till 5 rupees, as previously it was 3, but it increased to 5, where the price is 1. So this from A to C point, we can say expansion of demand. So this is how a contraction and expansion of demand is been explained. So it is simply, if you see that if you remove this, this is what the law of demand was all about. Only thing you have to go with pointing out these 3 points, that is A, B and C, where from if A, it moves from A to B, there is a contraction of demand. Suppose if it moves from A to C, there is an expansion of demand. But remember that you have to start from 3 rupees and 3 particular demand units. So it is, you have to start from the midpoint, that is equilibrium. It can be another units or another price also, if you whichever you want to take, because it is a hypothetical data. So this is how you find that there is a contraction of demand and expansion of demand on a DD curve, that is a demand curve. Now let us analyze it. You find that the initial price, that is the starting of the price is 3 rupees, and that was, you find the starting demand was 3 rupees, 3 units at a point A, which we have seen if you see here. So 3 3. Then the second point says when a price falls to rupee 1 from rupees 3, the price decreases to 1. The demand expand from 3 to 5 unit at point C. So if you go back to the diagram again here, so what is happening when price reduced to rupees 1, the demand from 3 unit it became 5 unit. So here point C. So it shows there is an expansion of demand. Then after this movement DD curve from A to C, from point A to C, it is called expansion of demand. So as we have seen, from here to here, it is called expansion of demand. Same way, what will happen if now initial point is A, that is if price rises from 3 to 5 means it is moving upward, the price is increasing, the demand contracts from unit 3 to unit 1. So opposite will happen. So let's see backward again. Here it is a point A, and if it is moved from, that is here rupees 3, if increase to 5, the demand goes shift here, and the unit quantity demand is 1. So you find that from A to B it shifts. So there is a contraction of demand because there is an increase in price and reduction in the demand has reduced and the price has increased. So that's why it is called contraction of demand. So that particular movement from A to B is called as contraction of demand. I hope you have been clear with this diagram. Only thing you have to go think that where the demand is contracting, that is contraction of demand, because there is a rise in or increase in price. If when the demand is increased, when there is a reduction in price from 3 to 1, when it comes, the demand will move from 3 units to 5 units. If price goes from 3 rupees to 5 rupees, the demand contract from 3 units to 1 unit. So this is what is all about, that is expansion of demand and contraction of demand. Here remember that other variables, other factors are constant. There is other determinants, that is income, taste, preferences, related price of related goods, future expected goods, all are constant. Only price are varying. So that's why it is expansion and contraction of demand which has been shown to us. Now in our next class we are going to learn about increase and decrease in demand curve. So that will be our next topic for next lecture. I hope you have been clear with this. Try to draw, try to analyze it, and if you find any difficulty ask me, write down the notes, prepare well. Thank you.